Another day of lots of meetings.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's hard to find a gap in the diary, I tell you.
Yeah, August is really full.
Yeah,
And
really full.
September's got some gaps, and I'm hoping they won't be filled up with anything.
Makes me laugh. And then every once in a while, when I look down, when I've got a moment to look at my email thing, there's 101 emails. And
yeah. The 2 weeks that I had off at the end of July, I had 780 emails in 2 weeks. And there would have only been 6 or 7 that were actually spam. 700 emails. It's madness. And I had
it's overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. Majority of them were just reading, but probably 40% needed a response. Crazy.
Yeah, but you try and read all of that. And how many hours is it? It's just like,
I know.
Oh my God.
It's days and days. Yeah. I'd like to meet the person who invented email. I mean, sometimes it's good, but you know, in the old days, we would think of 5 or 6 things that we need to tell that person. Yes, before we would ring them. But now I've got a thought. I'll put it in an email. Yeah.
No.
So I had a phone call today, and it seemed odd that I had a phone meeting. When I'd had all these Zoom meetings, and I went, oh, I've actually got a phone meeting. That's old school.
Yeah.
Did you do it on a landline?
No, on a cell phone. I don't have a landline.
Hey, don't knock the landline.
I know. I've got one because my mum.
Yes.
And mother-in-law.
Yes.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
And they like to talk on the phone. My mum every day. Yep. On the phone.
Right. I think we're coming up to 11 o'clock. I know Martin has had a couple of challenging aspects to his day. Carmen, how are we going for the first submitter? No, actually, it's not submissions today, is it? It's Robin.
Yes, there is.
There are no submissions today. So it is the traffic hearings and engagement. So it is Robin that's going to be presenting today.
Okay, so should I give it another minute or so for Martin? If not, then I will kick off. Have we got a quorum? We do. Look, if everybody's comfortable, I will kick off. And so let me quickly get the right agenda in front of me. I do apologise for this. I thought I was much better organised. Here we go. Right, so I'll open the meeting. And the agenda is as set out there. So, Robin, if you're happy, can I hand it over to you to start?
Do you want to get rid of the minutes first, Mr. Chair?
What a good idea. Thank you.
And the apologies and confirmation of the agenda.
Yeah, I'll move the confirmation of the agenda. If I have a seconder, I see
I'll second.
Gallagher.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there he goes.
No, that's cool. I'll second that. Ewan moved, seconded. That's cool. And as Ewan has just said, let's. I suppose we just do a show of hands, do we?
I'll let you take it from there, Martin.
Okay, no, thanks, Ewan. I did arrive exactly at 11. I was just coming into the tube, so I don't want one of those part-only things that gets published in the Nikki Preshner OIA letters. This is not a part-only. Anyway, just take the minutes as read and as true and correct. Can we just raise our hands?
The motion is carried unanimously for the confirmation of agenda.
Right, and then I think, is there any other item? Sorry, I'm just sort of firing up my diligent. I was using this one before, but I'm now.
I think we just need to move the minutes of the previous meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
please.
Yeah, you moved by Deputy Chair, seconded by Chair. All those in favour, those contrary, raise hands. Carmen?
Yes, so the motion is carried unanimously. Can we also get a mover and seconder for apologies?
I'll move.
Seconded, Councillor Maxine. All in favour, those to the contrary, carried. Sorry, Carmen, you have to tell us.
Yes, so the motion is carried unanimously.
What were the apologies, Carmen? None?
No, I think there was Rob, and there was I know there was Pat Bunty. Who else? Carmen?
Councillor Nadirove as well.
Yeah.
And I believe
and-
Councillor Forsyth.
Councillor Forsyth, Councillor Bunting, Councillor
Thompson.
Pascoe. Oh, Thompson, right?
Oh, no, she's just joined us.
Oh,
now.
she's just joined us. Okay.
Yep. And
Councillor
she's-
Thompson for lateness. That's cool.
I wasn't very late, Martin.
Oh no, that's all right. But as long as you're not a part only, that's all. As long as you're there, you know, because I don't want those Waikato Times stories making a big issue that you're a part only. Okay. We have to beat Ewan's attendance, actually. Anyway, let's go. Sorry. Right. So do we go to Robin now?
I'm happy to do so, yes.
Yeah. Right.
So good morning, councillors. So this is a fairly standard parking and traffic bylaw report. We have a number of parking changes and bylaw changes, which are set out in the report. There are two items that are discussed further in the report and that I'm happy to just give a quick overview, and perhaps we just work through each of those, Mr. Chair, one by one.
I'd suggest that, because I think we're identifying the ones that may require some discussion and,
Correct.
you know, subject to due process. The others probably would appear by my reading to be fairly straightforward.
Correct.
Okay, Robin, we're in your hands.
Thank you. So the first one is Horsham Downs Road. So this starts on clause 16 of the report.
So just 1 second, I apologise, Ewan. Did we do any did we note there was no declaration of interest? Sorry.
I hadn't moved that.
Can I suggest you move? I second that. So apologies for this. We'll just get that
Right.
signed off.
Move.
Well, we know it's noted. There's none, obviously. Anyone? No. Right. Thank you. Sorry, Robin.
It's okay. So Horsham Downs Road, so top end Rotatuna area. Some more development happening up in that area, and the plan on figure 1 in the report, page 12.
12.
Just shows where that new road is coming into Horsham Downs Road. So those who are not familiar, basically Galloway becomes Peachgrove, becomes Hukanui, becomes Horsham Downs Road. That's probably the most changing along a road for road names.
Sorry, I apologise, Robin. Just to help me here, my brain has got Galloway, Hukanui. And at what point does Hukanui become Horsham Downs again? Yeah. Give us a visual idea.
It's up
if I'm
and
at the
around.
Chartwell Shopping Centre, where am I finding it?
So no, you kind of carry on further north. So this is almost out at North City Road, which is basically almost into the country and just short of Ballman Road.
Right. Okay. Up there, past the shopping.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Is that clear to every other member? Okay. Thank you.
Cool. So what we've attempted to do, our proposal, which we had brought to the last committee, but at the last minute we actually had an objection come through. So we said we'd withdraw that item and then talk some more about that and come back to this committee. So What we're hoping to do is to accommodate that new entrance, and it's sorry, it's a little bit of a dark photo, but in figure 2 you can see where all the signs and that are. That's where that new entrance is coming out. And what we were hoping to do was to basically put in some no stopping and have the cycle lane go through and widen the central median to allow vehicles to turn primarily right into it, but also provides a little bit of room for those who are pulling out of it to then merge with traffic. So that's going to require putting some no stopping in there. We consulted on that, and we've had a couple of residents come back who weren't happy with that because they currently do utilise that area of parking. So what we've tried to do is show in figure 3 what it would look like if we did retain that parking on site, and we can accommodate it. It certainly doesn't look pretty, and from our perspective, even though the lines may go out and around, when there's not cars parked there, or even when there are cars parked there, vehicles do tend to straight line, and so we're concerned that that was going to create a pinch point for the cyclists moving through. So our recommendation is to proceed with the no stopping so that we can do a layout that looks like figure 2 in the report.
The only problem, if I can, is because I'm conscious this is a hairdressing business. Is that right?
Correct.
And I'm just me. I'm just conscious in this current circumstance of if we can affect any compromise that if someone's, home, I don't know home occupation. I just have how devastating would be if we go with the original, with your recommendation.
As I said, we can accommodate the alternate, which is keeping that the parking in place. It does mean that it's a bit of a compromise, and there are, from our perspective, it's not the best solution for cycling. But I think that the plans sort of try and help elected members with making that decision by, I guess, giving you a bit of a visual as to what it would actually look like.
Yeah, okay, because I'm just, is there a significant safety compromise for cyclists?
It is to do with the fact that vehicles do tend to straight line, and road marking can look nice as providing that space for cyclists, but the reality is that drivers do tend to straight line it. And I imagine that if there's no parking, no vehicles actually parked there, I imagine cyclists will also straight line it too, so, and not sort of weave out and around for a parent. Yeah.
Where's the alternative parking for that particular business then, if we did the straight line approach?
There's basically none on street. It would have to be within their business, within their present property.
Okay. Carry on. We'll ponder that. Obviously, sorry, that's just any other questions on that at this point. Sorry, apologies. I've hogged that question. No, carry on.
One question, Martin.
There's a couple.
Is there any parking, say, like around the corner, like if you were to look at kind of the closest places where they could find parking, is it, a 2-minute walk, or are you looking at a 10-minute walk?
Probably about a 2-minute walk up and around Moonlight. The big issue around this area, and the difficulty perspective you don't get with the plan, is that Horsham Downs Road is kind of sitting on the ridgeline, and then everything drops down from there. So the comment that the hairdresser made was, even though they actually have parking space within it, some of their clients, older clients, don't like actually driving up their driveway and then having to come up onto the road to get out. So that's why they're choosing to park on street and to walk in.
Is there, and did they comment on whether the older clients would be able to walk that little bit of extra distance from around the corner?
No, there was no comment on that. I guess everyone likes to park as close as possible, but in this case, people are actually making a choice from a comfort perspective for their driving skills, I guess, as to coming out of the driveway.
Is it the speed of the cars that scares them a little bit? That I guess coming out.
I think it's narrow, it's steep coming up, and then sort of sitting on the brow of a hill and then trying to pull out. Probably not quite a hill start, but close. So yeah, and I guess it's always. People make a choice often to walk that little bit further if they're not feeling comfortable to drive, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Councillor Maxine. Yeah.
On the same points, and thanks, Sarah, for your questions. Robin, do you know if there on the property is the opportunity for people to be able to drive in, do a little turn and then drive out forwards rather than driving in and then backing? Because that's often, what upsets people, backing into traffic.
Yes. Yeah, no, there definitely is room to turn around on site. But yes.
So that asks the question, if I'm running a business, right, tax deductible, all of that stuff, and obviously I'm looking at client convenience, to what degree is it then on me to make some adjustments on my property to actually accommodate particularly the elderly type of client? And what does their section look? They currently have a steep driveway, but do they have capacity, as Maxine has just raised, to make some alteration to accommodate? For the rest of us, the 2-minute walk is neither here nor there. Frankly, if I'm going to home business, I walk down the road. There's tons of businesses where I can't park straight outside. Tick the box. 2-minute walk, nothing. For the elderly or infirm, and particularly if it's often there's a drop-off zone, they'll have a driver in some cases. So can they do something within their driveway to accommodate that, Robin? That's on them, as a business.
Yep. There is room for number 91. So on figure 1, 91 is right down the back. It's got that big white roof. It's like a T on the plan. So they've got a very long driveway and there is room to turn around there. But I guess, that's up to their clients to determine whether they're happy to do that or not. And up till now, they haven't been.
And just a supplementary question, in terms of that, would there be the opportunity then to complete that turn on an off-road situation, perhaps, on the berm or other, if they couldn't do it, on the property of the hairdresser's business?
No, not really, because it's a driveway. There is a berm space there, but there's plenty of room for them to turn around within the property, and I imagine that nobody would want to back all the way out of 91 because it's actually quite a long distance, that particular driveway.
How steep is the gradient?
I don't think it's terrible. Hamilton, what we consider to be steep in Hamilton, is a Wellingtonian would scoff at you probably, but for a Hamiltonian, it's getting up there a little bit.
It's 91. It's a business, surely. And if I was running any other business in 91, I would assume that if I wanted to attract customer, I would clear my yard out and have a proper turning bay and all of that to give people the option of safely driving up and then turning around and then coming back out face down. Have I got that right?
I believe that's able to happen now, Councillor Martin, and that probably many of their clients do, but they have some clients who choose not to.
So this is the issue of clients who choose not to. There's a big difference between clients who can't. Sorry, Maxine, I interrupted you.
My understanding was that it was number 89 where the hairdresser business is at. Is that correct, or? Is it down the long driveway?
I understand it was down the long driveway. Yes, yes, it's the
Okay,
long
just,
driveway because it's
well,
covered in under 19, point number 19.
but their proposal, you know, their objection as a separate attachment states 89.
Okay. Sorry, do I have? I'm not in diligent. Sorry, councillor.
Sorry, sorry, Chair.
What page is that on diligent, Maxine?
It's page 40.
Sorry, I believed it was 91 that had that, and I'm not in accessing diligent. Sorry, today.
Can we perhaps come again back to that one in this case? I mean, obviously proceed, freeze that, and just obviously I think we need to be crystal clear as to what, and also that gives you, Robin, a chance to have some interaction in terms of just what is realistic and reasonable in terms of offsite. May or may not influence the final decision, but I'm just thinking if we're a bit vague as to the details of that.
I guess we can. At the end of the day, it's I guess up to elected members as to how you'd like to proceed. There's two options available, and those two options are basically going to be the ones that have to be decided for or against at some stage.
But what number? I mean, this is it 89 and 91? I apologise. Like
we've had objections from both 81
right.
and 91.
Yeah.
Sorry, 89 and 91. Both objected.
So I think, Mr. Chair, if I may, I've got a question to Robin. So I think what you're saying is whether the hairdresser's down 89 or 91 is not material.
Right. Mm.
Yeah, the issue is that we need to make a decision as to whether or not we're going to retain parking on street or not.
Correct.
Yeah, correct.
So that one of them has the hairdressing equation, but basically that doesn't change the critical point.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ewan.
Mm.
I mean, it would be nice to have clarity, but it doesn't change the decision that's in front of this committee. It would be my observation.
What's the original page again we were looking at, having gone off to the attachment?
Page 12, Councillor Martin.
Mr. Chair, did you
Sorry,
get that?
I've been
Page
unmuted.
12.
Yeah, page 12, thank you. Is there any other questions on page 12 then?
Mr. Chair, just procedurally, how would you like, what's your intention? Do you want to put each of these individually?
Yes, I would put them individually. Did you want to go to the next item and come back to this, or do you want to, are you in a position where you'd like to make a decision now?
I'm relaxed. I don't know how I'm happy to make a decision based on the information I've got, but I don't know how Councillor Maxine feels.
And Councillor Leary's not giving anything away at this stage in terms of looking at her on the screen.
I'm comfortable with making decisions
okay,
today.
right, look, I'm in your hands. Yep. I'm just chairing the meeting. Sorry, Councillor Leary, have you got any input on this one?
No, look, I'm happy to go with it today. It's fair. I mean, if you're talking about just that one decision.
Yes,
that
just
one,
this item.
The ninth. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think we should.
And the intent would be that if we have an agreement, then obviously I would suggest that when we finally do the lot, right?
Yeah.
We've written in what we've just pre-written in what we've done, and then we do one motion at the end. That's all.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Okay, Ewan, what's your view, Councillor Wilson?
I am very comfortable in making the decision on Horsham Downs. I'm just trying to find the exact motion.
Figure 2 or figure 3?
The two options.
Yeah. As I understand it, they're on figure 2, which is page 13, and figure 3, which is page 14. Have I got that right, Robin? It's either or.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Robin, in the motion, so is that already a recommendation? Is that already part of the staff recommendation that we go ahead with that right turn bay in the cycle lane, or?
Correct. So the proposed restrictions are to basically implement figure 2.
Okay.
Right. So basically, if you want to change it to figure 3, you change the substantive recommendation. If you want to go with the staff recommendation, you do nothing. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maxine.
Sarah had another question. Sorry,
I
Sarah.
was going to say to the chair that I wanted to signal that I was keen to move the staff recommendation with the one change in regards to the Peach Grove road crossing that does go ahead.
Okay, that will come on to that later.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the next item we're discussing. We'll just deal with this at this point. So I mean,
so just my question to Robin through the chair was that, is it intended that the right turning bay be available for Moonlight Drive and for the new development that was coming on further up Horsham Downs Road? So you'll keep those stripy lines with the right turning bays at both of those points?
Yes, so the picture in figure 2 shows the right turn into Moonlight, and this will provide enough space further up the page, further north, to accommodate that new intersection as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I wondered just procedurally that if Councillor Thompson isn't right, that we're better to move en masse the staff recommendation on page 9, but with the exception of both this one and the one Councillor Thompson has highlighted, and that gets rid of the majority rather than do the way around, because
thank you for your guidance, Deputy. That's a good guidance, actually. So could we just perhaps, I suspect, Robin, before we do that, then we'll come back to the exceptions. Is there any other commentary you would make with regard to the bulk of the recommendations, which on my reading are what I would call non-controversial and fairly straightforward? Robin?
No, nothing further to add. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
So basically it would be that the Hearings and Engagements Committee receives a report and approves the changes to parking restrictions and controls as set out below, with the exception of what would that be? I just want to...
Just
so
Horsham. Horsham Downs Road.
Horsham Downs Road, and I believe Councillor Thompson had the other one on Peach Grove Road.
Yeah, well, basically, what the procedurally, right? I will move, with the exception of Horsham Downs and Peach Grove Road, that we approve the changes to parking restrictions and controls as detailed on our agenda. Seconded by Councillor Wilson, right?
Yep.
And then, is there any discussion and debate on that motion? If there is no discussion and debate, those in favour of the said motion, please raise your hands.
Motion is carried unanimously.
Thank you. Now we go back to the Horsham Downs Road, which, as I understand it, in terms of the staff recommendation, is as per figure 2,
which I would happily move.
I'll second.
Right. in favour. I would have a preference for figure 3, but I'm going to bow, and I'm not. It doesn't have to be recorded, all right? Because to me, this is collegial. I would have gone with figure 3, but I just respect. I respect the consensus majority in this view. That's all. I would like to accommodate that, but having said that, Robin, if down the track the residents concerned can prove clear adverse outcomes, then obviously we're always open to receive representations. Have I got that right, Robin?
Correct. The public are always
I mean,
able to come in and raise concerns. Yes.
Yeah, so it's not set in stone. Obviously, it's but you'd give it 6 months of to see how it's all panned out, really.
Yeah, the only issue would be that to remove it and take it back to a figure 3 type alignment, there will need to be road marking removal, which is always a messy business, unfortunately. That would be the only problem with going backwards, and that's not major.
I have a leaning to figure 3, but in the end, I'm not going to be recorded as dissenting and all this. Like in the end, I've expressed a preference, but it's not. That's all it is. Trust me, I'm not going to pull the rug from from. If the majority, so can I just go around the room? Angela, are you okay with figure the staff rec? Maxine, Sarah. I've just right. You would, of course. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. We'll. You and do you want to move that? I mean,
I'll
I
move
won't.
that.
No, I'm not going to oppose it. Seconded by Councillor Sarah. All right. All those in favour will say aye.
Aye.
Motion is
Those to
carried
the
unanimously.
contrary. Yeah. Thank you.
And
In
then,
fact,
Mr.
if you
Chair,
don't mind, I
wonder
won't. You don't have to record. Do you have to record my dissent, Carmen?
If you would like to dissent on that, we can
No.
absolutely do that.
But I would don't oppose it. But I don't want to. When you have Councillor Gallagher dissenting, it's over. So I'm happy. If you have to record my dissent, then I'll just go with consensus. Put it that way.
Okay, so we're leaving you as being for the staff recommendation?
If I vote against the staff recommendation, bear with me, committee members, do you have to record, can you just say carried by majority, do you have to record Councillor Gallagher dissenting in the minutes?
I would have to record that you were dissenting.
No, okay, I'll go with the majority. I've expressed a view. I've been convinced by your arguments. Go with it. And I think it's just important to try and get consensus on this, to be honest. Okay. Right.
And then, Mr. Chair, I wonder if Councillor Thompson might want to talk to the only remaining issue.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that is, can you just give us the give us the page reference so I can go straight to that diagram again?
Councillor Sarah, can you remind me?
Page 17.
17.
If you want the
Thanks,
picture.
thanks, Robin. Yeah, just getting the picture right. Okay.
Are we in debate at the moment, or a question? Do we have should we do questions first and then?
Robin, can you just go through and update us where things are at and the reasoning for the staff recommendation?
Okay, so I guess for the benefit of Councillor Angela and Councillor Sarah, who haven't been involved with this previously, we had a proposal to do some safety improvements at the northern side of Five Crossroads, following on from a fatality where a elderly person was crossing the road from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, so moving towards Claude Street, just immediately north of Claude Street. And to support the 30km/h speed limit that's been put in that area late last year. So the work involves quite a few components, And when we undertook the public consultation in that area, we had objection from 2 of the residents, and they were at numbers 267 and 269. So right next door to where the raised safety platform was. And their concerns were solely with regard to the raised safety platform, not the other works that was proposed there. So that was brought to the 9th of June Hearing and Engagement Committee, and one of the residents, Dion Gregory, spoke to that. And staff were asked to go away and have a look at some of the other options that had been put forward by the residents, and to consider whether there was an alternate location that could be utilised to accommodate that raised safety platform component of the works. So we did that, and so the next meeting on the 28th of July, those options were presented that had been investigated. It was noted by the resident that in doing that additional work that the team hadn't actually spoken to him on site, and he requested the ability to meet with the consultants and to be able to talk to it on site. So he felt that that was, easier to understand rather than talking about it over the phone sort of thing. And councillors had a couple of other options they wanted us to look a bit further into. So we've undertaken that work and got that work done. There have been about 6 different locations looked at along this section of road. The reality is that it's not an easy site. It's not one where we can put something in and say that we can meet all the requirements that we would like to, which is basically ensuring that from a safety perspective, we're really comfortable with it, but also from adjacent landowners' perspective that they're also happy with it. The Schools Link Eastern Pathways project is gaining momentum, and there will be a report to the Infrastructure Ops Committee tomorrow on that project. And as part of that project, there will be a lot of work done on this network, and in this area there will also be quite a key focus because of Five Crossroads high pedestrian activities. Because we haven't been able to find a location where we can basically meet and be comfortable from a safety perspective and get the residents happy, staff are proposing that we withdraw the proposed raised safety platform from the works, that we instead put a splitter island in Tennyson Road, because there was quite a lot of discussion around speed of vehicles doing in effect a zigzag from Claude into Tennyson and doing it that at speed. So doing that. And in the meantime, we've responded to the councillors' requests for what can we do just to try and make the area safer in the meantime. There were existing 30k per hour signs put up, which were just the simple 30k roundel. We've had larger signs put up, and we have, as a result of going out and having a look, moved them to being north of Tennyson and have got the red road marking put down on the road with a white 30 on it. So what the proposal recommendation is at this stage is that we proceed with the proposed improvements in the area without the raised safety platform, and that the Eastern Pathways project revisit this area. That's likely to have a look at bus stops as well as pedestrian facilities, and certainly very much the cycling facilities through here. And that in the meantime, we can do these minor works which will make it safer until that bigger project comes through. I'm happy to take questions.
Thanks, Robin. Chair, I'd just like to signal I'd like to move a motion that we do go ahead with the safety improvements, but with the crossing over the raised platform. Robin, how early realistically would that platform, or would we be doing works for the school link in that section?
I am not heavily involved with the actual project, and I guess that would be a really good discussion point for tomorrow. The Eastern Pathways project is going to have a lot of work to be done, and I would think that there are going to be locations where they will want to get in and do some quick wins work where, you know, the community are happy and it makes good sense to get in and do that. And ultimately, you know, there's likely to be pockets of work done and then it'll be linked together. So I have certainly raised this with them and raised their awareness of the issue. And, you know, it could be that if there was a desire to get this way early, that is something that's our focus is made on it.
Mr. Chair, I've got a question. I'm happy to second Councillor Sarah's motion, but I've got a question as well, if you're ready.
Yeah, sure. Ewan?
Thank you, Chair. Robin, from what I understand, I mean, clearly I've been involved in, I've participated in each of the meetings. You are, as a staff, in a position, however, to do the original works and satisfy all the safety elements. The only outstanding issue is having what you weren't able to do is come up with a compromise that satisfies the objector. Is it still your professional opinion that the safest way to move forward was the original proposal?
That would certainly be my preference, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Excuse me, Chair. I
Maxine?
also have a question if
Yeah, sure.
time is right.
Yep, Maxine.
Kia ora, Robin. Thanks for the work. I also support going ahead with the raised safety platform, and that I also was at all of the discussion through this, through the various iterations of it. Councillor Ewan talks about the original proposal. There were a couple of changes to that to try to accommodate the objector's initial objection in the positioning of that. I wonder if you could just give us some clarity about where it would be. There was the later intention to move it a little closer to Claude Street, thereby making it less of an obstruction for access and egress from Dion's property.
Yes, so that was basically for a plan at this sort of scale, it probably wouldn't have been noticeable, but there was an agreement that we could move it about 0.5 metre to the south. That would just give a little bit more room for when pulling out of the driveway and not having the vehicle go so far up and onto the ramp.
And just a supplementary question to that, and also in relation to the previous questions that I asked, if driving into Dion's property, is there the opportunity to turn and come out forward as well? Or because I understood his objection was backing out. Is that correct?
That was his key concern, I understand. And he was also concerned about, I guess, people walking in that area and looking directly into his property by sort of encouraging people to be crossing there. But I understand that he should be able to turn around on his property, although it's probably not a specific requirement that he does.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Right, thank you. Are there any other further questions? Right, Councillor Thompson, do you just want to speak to your motion? Do I have the second, Councillor Thompson motion seconded by Councillor Wilson? Councillor Thompson?
Thank you, Chair. So acknowledging objectors' concerns, I think that in the end we have to balance things up, and we've had a death in this area the other day. Just going through that area, I saw several people run in front of the vehicle I was in to cross the road right outside that medical centre. Safety is our #1 concern. And we're wanting to move towards Vision Zero. So because, I mean, it is staff's, I guess, preferenced in terms of safety, that crossing is there. I think that when weighing up the community benefit in terms of safety and then those concerns from our objector, that it's still the right decision to go ahead with that crossing. And we don't have a clear time frame in terms of when the school link work or the Eastern Pathways work will begin in that area, and it could be 6 months, a year, and in that time there is a risk that someone else could be injured. So I'd like to move that we go ahead with the recommended safety provisions, including the crossing.
Councillor Wilson, a seconder.
Just very briefly, Mr. Chair, thank you. Look, I think we all tried, and I was particularly interested in trying to find any potential area of compromise with the objector. And then I found myself being very keen to ensure that at least there was meaningful face-to-face consultation. And we've done all of that, and we couldn't still find middle ground. And in light of the safety aspects and everything that Councillor Sarah just said, safety has to come first. And that's why I'm really comfortable now. And Robin may be surprised because I was a vocal detractor, but I was trying to find compromise. We couldn't, and as such, the appropriate fallback position, in my opinion, for council was safety first, because I couldn't have lived with myself if something had gone wrong and I was involved in a decision that delayed making those improvements. So that's why I've changed my position. I eat humble pie, and now let's just do it and do it right.
Councillor, that's fine. Councillor Leary, do you have anything to add? No, I have nothing to add. If there's no further discussion, I will put the motion as moved by Councillor Sarah.
Councillor,
Right of
Chair
reply,
Martin,
Councillor Sarah Thompson.
I was just going to say, with the motion, is it clear that we're wanting everything to go ahead? Was it just the, with that other motion, was it just the crossing that was excluded? Just clarifying that.
Yes, so the rest of the work, everyone was happy with proceeding. It was really just the raised safety component that was the debate.
Brilliant, thank you.
But
happy
clearly,
with
as
that,
I have listened to the debate and the motion moved by Councillor Thompson, the item in front of us is very much, if you like, a critical, in her view, a critical link in completing the whole project. Is that a reasonable understanding of your view, Councillor Thompson?
yes.
Thank you. Right, I will now put
I'm sorry, Chair. Robin, you talked about the alternatives if the raised platform wasn't to go ahead. It seems very sensible to do and the raised platform. So all that you propose, the larger sign, the red on the road,
they're already in
the
place.
sign, they are.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, they're already in place. So really the only outstanding is the new Splitter Island in Tennyson. Would have been the only sort of instead of type option. There's probably still some value in that, although it it was more about managing that speed for that zigzag that was happening, that putting that island in Tennyson.
And is
So
it your
we'll
view that then by having the raised pedestrian platform that will slow cars enough instead
Yes,
of
I think so. We'll
Okay.
we'll get the guys to have a look at it on site and just double check on that one. It's not a large expense to accommodate that if we can.
Thanks,
So,
and thanks for the
Robin,
indulgence of the chair on
oh.
that.
Sarah?
Sorry, got lots of grizzling in the background. So, Robin, just those splitters, the blue parts in the diagram, at this stage, would they be going ahead, or is what with this current motion, and what would be your best recommendation there?
Yeah, so certainly in Claude Street, that was seen as being really crucial. At the time of proposing them in Tennyson, it was because we weren't putting the raised safety platform in. If we proceed with the raised safety platform, we'll just have a look again at Tennyson, because I do know that the splitter islands have not only value in slowing cars, but giving the pedestrians somewhere to sort of stand halfway across the road, take a breath, and then just deal with one lane of traffic at a time. So they still do have a value, and we'll look at that and see if we can accommodate that within the budget.
Okay, so this still leaves that open if after
Correct.
looking at it. Okay, thank you.
Right, I'm now going to put the motion. I respect it's not totally procedurally. We've debate and questions, we've rolled into one, but I think in the circumstances, right. So all those, just make sure Sarah's still here to vote. Yes, she is. Good. Right. Can all those in favour of the motion as moved by Councillor Thompson and Councillor Wilson, please raise your hands.
Motion is carried unanimously.
Right, thank you. Is there anything else we need to?
Not from my perspective, thank you, councillors.
Yeah, Robin, I'll talk to you if I can offline, just in terms of the communication on the first item back to the submitters with regard to that first item.
Yes,
just
that's fine. I'll just stay online. Yep.
Yeah, if you could. Thank you very much. That's fine. Thank you. Right. Okay, the meeting's formally closed.
Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thanks,
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Chair. Bye, everybody.